And Indians don't want to compromise. If they're going to Vienna, they want Belvedere Castle.
Yeah.
If they're going to Monaco, they want to shut the square.
Yeah.
If they're going to Mykonos, they want to close the roads and have the barat there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about power.
No, but also,
I'm talking
the
about
same-
spending power. He said, I should give you the key to the city. We are nostalgic. There are so many brides who want to come back and get married because this generation has not grown up in India.
Absolutely.
Their parents grew up in
Yeah.
India. They've only heard fabulous stories of India.
Which all weddings you've done, Adi?
Salman's sister Arpita's wedding we did in Hyderabad. Then we did Zaid Khan with Sagarika, the cricketer, and Sagarika got there. Priyanka and Nick's wedding.
Yeah.
Kiara and Sid's.
Welcome to the Wedding Podcast. And today with us, we have two most distinguished leaders of the wedding industry. I'm going to start introducing with the man for a change because I want to save the best for the last. And I'm sure he'll agree with me.
In our relationship, the man and the woman she is. Just for information, guys.
The great Gatsby, the charmer, the man with a heart of gold, Aditya Motwane from Motwane Entertainment and Weddings. And now, the boss lady. I think she was the first event manager of this country way before we even thought of getting into events.
That means
For
she's
three-
72 years old.
For 3 decades, she has been doing wonderful work from glamorous to timeless to unique to classic, you call it any style of wedding. She's done for the top most influential families of this country. Welcoming the Vandana Mohan of the Wedding Design Company.
Yay! Thank you, thank you. She made me sound so old, timeless, classic, whatever it is. But thank you. I'm
But
so
you've
happy
done
to
all
be here.
kinds of work, you know that. The main topic for this episode that I wanted to start with,
Yeah.
and I know we'll digress into many directions,
yeah.
is collaboration and how collaboration has got some of the best projects happen with two of y'all coming together. So I want your take on first, how does one, I mean, people have to be open today to even think. They're all so secretive. Nobody likes to.
So I'll tell you what, Adi and I did our first collaborative wedding a zillion years ago. And we really didn't know each other. I knew of Aditya. Aditya was with Percept at that time. I just knew about him. I'd heard about him. I knew about the company more than about the man himself. Until we got to know each other. Over the years, the 2 or 3 things that have cemented this relationship and the collaboration, and I just want to make it clear, I'm the boss, whether it's his company or mine. The reason why that collaboration worked, 2 equals, very important. Respect, boundaries, transparency, and most important is care. These are 5 things that I think our industry overlooks sometimes because we get so caught up in trying to be the guy or the woman or the person for the client or just trying to make that extra buck.
Yeah, like
You
you
know?
make it transactional.
Transactional. It's very transactional. Everybody wants to make money.
Yeah.
Come on, you and I in the business, we're here, we're passionate about it. He wants to make money, I want to make money.
Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah.
But how that money gets made should not be unethical
Yeah.
or sleazy.
True.
Okay? I'm saying at the end of the day, both of you are working for the same client. Both of you have a role to play. And if you are coming on as, if I'm coming on as a design partner and you're coming on as a hospitality and a logistics partner, I must respect what you do.
Correct.
I cannot undermine you in front of a client.
yeah.
I am your back. If you are not there for some reason in a meeting, I am not going to turn around and say, I don't know where Aditya is.
Yeah, this is a very
I am going to
important-
make sure that I am there and covering. And let me tell you, it happened with us.
Yeah.
In one of the occasions, Adi couldn't attend for whatever reason. I actually picked up the phone and called that client. And he was shocked that I called him. And I said, he's a little busy, but I am here and what is it that you want? I've got his team with me. I will make sure everything happens the way it is. And we had a long conversation. Because I know that Adi trusts me
Yeah.
to take that decision on his behalf. And I think that's what collaborations are all about. It's a lot of trust.
That's
and in
true.
our business, that comes not easily.
Does not come easily from the client also, no, Adi?
No, I think what Vandana said, that insecurity, man. That's
Yeah.
the biggest issue in our
Correct.
industry. Very, very few people, I can't even count. I mean, probably 2 or 3 people from the wedding business for so many years have put their hand forward and collaborated. The
Yes.
rest have all snatched, have all gone behind the back, have all gone and, got business and said that we can do it better than the other one. 100% you can do it better, greater, grander, man. It's all yours. But at the end of the day, nothing happens now without collaborations.
True.
And you got to take each other's experience. You got to take each other on each other's shoulders and take advantage of our strengths. And that's what has worked for Vandana and me I would say, we've done, I think, 25 weddings internationally, out of which 26 have been done with each other. I don't know where the one went. But it's as what Andy said, man, it's trust, it's honesty. The teams know each other. In fact, our teams have hooked up in weddings and they're now married with 6 babies.
That's a
So
joke.
there's a real merger
that's a
between
joke.
WDC and MEW.
You know, you guys, when you talk of collaboration, when I entered this business and when people used to talk of ever Europe, I don't think any other name came up that time other than Vandana and Aditya for Europe weddings. So
Yeah.
pretty much you all have started doing weddings in Europe as the
33
first.
countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Please tell us a little bit about that piece. How does that work?
I think what would happen is that families would call.
Yeah.
You know how it's a boy's side and a girl's side. And very often it would be the girl's side who'd call me and the boy's side call him. And we didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, at
Oh,
that time
लड़के
we
वाले
didn't
यार
call.
बारात में धूमधाम मचा
So
रहे हैं।
then when we would be talking and they would say, Vandana, and those days I only did design. We didn't do
Yeah.
the whole stuff. So I would always want to know, who the other person is or what. They said, we don't know whether you know there is Aditya Motwane, and I would start laughing because
Yeah.
I'd say yes. So it became a pattern for a while.
Oh,
And
really?
it wasn't that we kind of jointly decided one fine day, I said, Adi, let's do weddings together.
And there was no social media.
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was
that
social
time
media.
there
was
wasn't-
nothing. So it wasn't even a conversation that he and I had. It was very organic. Families would call us, or they would call him and say, we're looking for design.
Through the teams it became orgasmic, but
Yeah.
with us it was only organic. Just to tell you.
basically say that. So people would call us from Dubai, from the Africas, from the UK, from Spain, and you know how communities, Indian communities are word spread.
Yeah,
Acha,
yeah,
you
yeah.
did, that was okay. And it just so happened that people really thought we ran one company. I had to actually go on a campaign in India and say, listen, I am not part of Motwane entertainment.
She always wanted to be, yeah.
I said,
She
I have
still
nothing
is
to do with
very-
him. We just happen to be working together. Now, the other part of the collaboration, I must tell you, is the fact that clients, till today, we compete.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be really honest, we compete. There are clients who are calling
But
us.
99% of the time I called to tell you only that this client.
I'm just coming to
Yeah.
that.
That's something about Adi.
Adi is the only human being in this entire industry
I
know
totally agree with you
who
on this.
only person in this entire industry
record कर रहा है ना,
who
वापस
will
loop
pick
पे।
up the phone and call you and say, hi, listen, so and so called me, whatever it is, this is happening, are you also pitching, or this is what is happening, or that is what is happening. Even I don't do it as much as
No,
he does.
he does that
Okay?
because I've had that experience
And
too.
his relationships in the industry are probably the best there are. I don't know why I'm saying nice things about him, but I'm just his relationships
back
in the
the
industry are
$1,000 I gave you this
the,
morning.
the best because, I mean, we've all had people start their own companies, leave, whatever it is, but he has a way. So I think it's also personality driven.
Yes.
It's very personality driven. It's also like what Adi was saying, not being insecure.
Yeah.
And looking at the larger picture at the end of the day. That are you going to actually scrap or are you going to put somebody under the bus for a few lakhs?
Yeah.
No. That's
I
not
mean,
what
also
you
the
do.
fact that for us, we always ask the client, is your child's wedding emotion or profession?
Yeah.
It's a very thin line. The why I'm saying this is because
Yeah.
I think everyone in this business somewhere has lost the line of finding the right emotion and pairing it with the right profession. But I think where probably Vandana, me, you, Aarti, and a few others in the similar kind of, connectivity in the industry. There's a lot of emotion that goes into our business that transcends into who our clients are also.
Absolutely.
I think all of us, at least 3 of us here, have said no to a lot of clients
Yeah.
who shown us the big ticket, but at the end of it, it's treated you like an agency, man. So some people prefer it that way, but we don't.
No, it's a
For
journey,
us, for us,
you're
it's all about
right.
emotion, man. And every client, and we've got repeat values, but there've been such emotional connects that
Yeah.
the references after that has been. That's what with Vandana and me, we started with. One country, we went to the next, and within 3 years, we were done with 12 countries. I was like, Wendy, what's going on, man? Why? I mean, thank God it's happening to us, but it just happened in a beautiful way because I just think right energies and clients who respected and who understood that we come with a lot of emotion,
Yeah,
we come
yeah.
with a lot of
Passion.
our own families. I live in a joint family with 35
Yeah.
people in my house, and I still live with 20 of them.
Wow.
Vandana comes home and stays. So there's a lot of values that have inbuilt in me.
Yeah.
A lot of values that I've learned from Vandana because she has her own family. Her kids live with her. I know how she treats her mom, her dad, her family. I was there for her daughter's wedding. So I know the kind of love and respect that she gives and she gets. And that
Yeah.
transcends across communication.
Absolutely.
And that's the most important.
No, you've
man.
said it right. You've
So-
kind of hit the nail. Because we are
I like the
almost
head also sometimes. Huh? No,
we
no,
are
sorry.
almost family to every client of ours for the 6-8 months of journey.
Hello, it's a 1 year. It's longer than some engagements and relationships last, by the way.
That's so true.
So it's a whole 1 year to 9 months we give birth to
Yeah,
a baby.
yeah.
We literally do.
Yeah.
And clients who, I always say this to a client. I said, when I say collaboration, it's not just between people who work. It's a collaborative effect between the families and us.
Yes.
And until and unless we guys are not collaborative, and unless and we are not transparent, I cannot say what I really think in front of a client, or they cannot tell me what they are thinking. Somewhere along the line, the disconnect happens.
And it won't be,
And it
you won't
never-
get the end outcome
energy
the way
is
you
never
want.
right.
Coming back to Europe, just deconstruct any one destination for me now, that how does it start as a process? It will be very interesting for the audience to know that from the time they choose a destination, how does the journey begin? How do you find for local vendors? How does that whole process work?
I think planning a destination, you know it.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're sitting with a client, they travel the world with you.
Yeah.
They start from north to south, and they want to do it here, and they want to go to the French Riviera, and they want to go to the Italian Riviera, and then you have to tell them if you're taking 800 people, they don't have hotels in these places.
And then they want to go to Champs Elysees.
Yeah,
Champs Elysees.
A client from Surat. Hey, Champs Elysees mein karenge.
You want clients to call you or no
Hello,
after
Surat.
this
How
show?
are you?
So it's also, the one thing I think I've learned over the years is to first listen.
Yeah.
Because they will have their own ideas and they will talk about 100 things. And then you start making them focus and figure out, okay, how many people, what kind of a hotel do you need? You need infrastructure.
Yeah.
So by now, after so many years, the moment I know, I said, okay, infrastructure, these are the cities in the world that you can look at.
Yeah.
But when we started out, we also didn't know.
Correct.
We also didn't know.
Yeah.
We were also doing trial and error.
Yeah.
Okay. So there have been times where we have actually started in one city and traveled and driven through a lot of Europe and hopped from city to city
To be
and
able to
loo-
figure.
and looked at hotels, rejected them,
Andy,
looked at cities.
I want to tell a story. We were doing a wedding in Austria. So I traveled with, there was one of her colleagues, myself and one of my colleagues, and 3 of us went to 5 cities. And I land up in this one city, and I don't know why I had to call her up because I thought of her when I was there. Once again, she gets credit for it. So I land up there and I said, Randy, she said, what has happened? And she said, what has happened? What is the final destination? I'm pack out. I said, you have to understand, my body temperature is down by 8 degrees. There is nothing around here. There is not even a crow who's croaking. It is just silence. He said, are you mad? How can we do a wedding here? It was Salzburg. And you have to understand that it was the most spectacular
Killer
destination, one of the most spectacular destinations. But just that, it's not Rome, it's not Monaco, it's not Vienna, it's not Cannes, it's not bustling, but it was just, you went there and your whole body temperature came down, man. the biggest challenge was there was a Red Bull hangar, which was,
Yeah.
state of the art on the runway of Salzburg.
Salzburg.
In that hangar, there are live aeroplanes that are still planes, F1 cars, F1 bikes that are still being used. So all the F1 cars that Red Bull owns come there after the F1s, and they place there. So there's petrol
It's
and
a
also.
display. It's
Yeah.
a display.
Yeah, and you get the setup from 9 in the morning with the whole place there, and you got to end it by 6. And you can't cook food which is flammable, no high pressure burners. Electrical is also limited, certain voltage.
Yeah.
It was a real challenge to do that. But just that the fun of, getting to that destination and discovering something new and something amazing, and the challenge you get after it in a terrain that you don't know, come out of your comfort zone, that's the fun that I think got us excited, and that's what transcended across to the clients who then realized that, look, these guys probably give us something different. It's not the run-of-the-mill Rajasthan, it's not the run-of-the-mill India, it's not Phuket, it's not Mauritius,
And
it's
there
not
was-
that kind
and
of
there
stuff.
was no
But
activity. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't, and it wasn't a bustling city. It was serene lakes. So to actually sell that and to tell them that this was something, but one of the clients was actually convinced because they used to come there for a holiday.
Oh, okay.
Now, in terms of finding what you're saying,
no, he
which-
just said that, look, I go for a holiday, come and have a look at it.
Yeah.
And that's when she was on the next flight, and I said, you got to come here.
Yeah.
We're staying on here for 2 more days. Just take a flight and come. And it
But
was just
deep diving into a city
Yeah.
is very important. So what are the hooks normally? It's normally a hotel, okay? It's normally a local DMC
Yeah.
that you're getting references from. But today, we were the ones who were giving everybody references because we really pioneered it.
Yeah.
There were none. There was
True,
nothing.
true.
Okay? So you literally went around the city. You spoke to the hoteliers, okay? You went on the net. You found restaurants.
Yeah.
There is always an Indian restaurant where
Yeah, most of the time they are saviors to us.
Saviors. India House, Taj,
Yeah.
something, whatever there are.
but it's not easy when you
And
started
then
off also. It was-
it's really connecting. So actually, the one thing we should have done is created a database and sold it of all the stuff that we've done for so
Seriously,
many
yeah.
years.
I mean, the-
of amount of information that the
Plethora
two
of
of us
information.
have in terms of everywhere. Till today, people call to say, "I'm going here. Do you have a connect? Can I speak to somebody for a pandit? Can I get this? Can I get a good florist? Can I?" So it literally went that. So we did that. His
Yeah.
team went looking for DMCs, for transport, for what to do, sitting with the hotels. My team literally went into
Production
the market.
houses,
production
vendors.
houses, florists, and you don't know whether these are the best.
Yeah.
You
Well-
don't know whether these are the people that you will eventually end up
We-
working with.
We did a wedding in 2012. That was one of the weddings without Randy initially, where the client already had a local planning team and a design team, and they didn't want to spend that much, and they didn't want to get a big India team to come and do the production. So we did it. So 15 days before the wedding, the bride comes and says, "Papa, I want elephant in Monte Carlo." But he said, "Papa, I want elephants." I said, "Okay, I'll get elephant for Papa, but Papa, don't discuss price with me. How I get the elephant for you, from where I get it for you, in those 15 days is my problem."
Getting an elephant is one story. I'm
A for elephant, huh?
A for elephant. Like with all the international work that I've done, I know it takes quite a crazy task to be able to get permissions from local authorities, government. How did you manage that?
Boss, Mera Bharat Mahan. We are Indians, man. When we go into that city, we take over it, and we take over it better than our own country. The kind of revenue that an Indian wedding brings
That's true.
for a 3-day celebration is
20
massive,
massive,
man.
yeah.
Besides what we bring from India, but locally, rooms, transportation, production, lights, sound, staging, flowers, workmanship, shopping, retail. I mean, it goes crazy. Honestly, it goes to crazy amount of numbers. So there's no problem in getting permission. It's sometimes when you want to recreate something.
Yeah.
Vandana recently did a wedding, in Europe with us, where we had to cover an entire 50-meter swimming pool, and do a lot of work behind it to make it ready for the opening night. But that took subsidious amount of permissions locally because the authorities there work with, a lot of due diligence.
Stringent, yeah.
You have to get fire approvals, you have to get technical
Safety
drawings, you have to get
norms,
structural
safety
approvals, you have to
Structure.
get approvals from the local mayor, you have to get approvals from the council, you have to get approvals from the authorities who manage that whole domain. So things like those sometimes, you got to go through the process. But I mean,
Yeah, sometimes when you do
we've-
these things and you do production drawings, you really become like
I mean, we've-
structural engineers
Yeah.
because you have to know exactly. They will ask you what weight, how much, where is the load, which is the load bearing thing. So things like that, you have to get very technical.
And Indians don't want to compromise. If they're going to Vienna,
Yeah.
they want Belvedere Castle.
Yeah.
If they're going to Monaco, they want to shut the square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're going to Mykonos, they want to close the roads and have the barat there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're going to Cannes, they want the best space, which is the festival.
Yeah.
So places like these, fortunately, Vandana and me have,
I have a story to tell talking about revenue. I was doing my first wedding and we were in Florence. And I used to walk, there's a square, the Repubblica Square. I used to walk down there every day. And the Italians are friendly and you chat, you stop for a coffee, whatever it is. I got flagged down by one person and said, "You're here for the Indian wedding. We've been seeing you work." I said, "Yes, I am." Said, "The wedding is in 3 months' time." And, I said, "Yes, absolutely." And I didn't bother asking who this person was. And I went to the cafe ahead and he was there again. I said, "By the way, where are you from? And why are you asking me this question?" He said, "Actually, I'm the, I manage the Louis Vuitton store and we are closed for now. And I have a request, can I have your card?" So I gave him my card. 3 days later, I got an email from the Louis Vuitton head office to say that they had pushed back their renovations, or they were pushing it up because they wanted to be ready in time because of the Indian wedding that was coming to Florence, because they didn't want to miss out on the crowd that was going to come shopping. So I'm talking about influence, I'm talking about power,
No, but
Yeah.
also-
I'm
also
talking
the
about
same-
spending power, and the fact that literally every store
Yeah.
in Florence
Absolutely.
opened up.
Ferragamo.
20 Ferragamo
had,
sold
had a
out.
20%
20% discount.
Within 4 hours from Milan, there were 6 trucks that had to come in. 6 trucks with extra stock.
Stuff.
Over
God.
3 days, they were just sold out with every, not even a handkerchief.
We are talking about influence, but the mayor was invited. We were too young and too naive at that time to understand what. He laughed in a thing and said to me, he said, "I should give you the key to the city."
Yeah, he
I
gave
did-
it. He
yeah.
gave it to one of our clients in
Yeah.
in Cannes.
In Cannes.
The Monaco
The
gave a
Really?
medal to a client of
Medal
ours
to the client.
and
Wow.
said that Cannes is yours. We're saying that
How lovely is
whatever
that?
you need now for the rest of your lives. And the same family did a wedding in south of France again. So,
So the power of an Indian wedding, or the power of a wedding for anywhere, not just abroad, even here
Yeah.
in India. I think the fact that the recognition that we today as an industry, and I'm going to call ourselves an
Yeah.
industry very proudly, actually add a lot of value to the economic growth of
Absolutely.
any country.
Value
and
and
That-
city.
that brings-
the amount of houses you run.
Yeah, it's an
across
entire
from top to
ecosystem.
down,
And the
everyone
employment and the you
we
know
are-
it.
We are working, everyone here in the studio is getting,
Yeah.
also remuneration for the time and effort.
Yeah.
So it just transcends across everywhere.
Absolutely.
As Indians, when you're living abroad, India, Mera Bharat Mahan,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
the situation
yeah.
may be, we are nostalgic. There are so many brides who want to come back and get married because this generation has not grown up in India.
Absolutely.
Their parents grew up in
Yeah.
India. They've only heard fabulous stories of India. So they want to come and be the princess.
He's made a
They-
very good point. Lot
They
of
want
now,
to be a princess. They
And
want to be
that's
a
now
something
people
we
princess.
should be
lot
able
of
to
affluent
promote.
people's families
Yes.
who have the power of spending, who can afford going to an Uday Vilas, who can afford
Yeah.
going to, a
Any
Umaid
of this-
Bhavan
any of
at
this
that
situation.
scale.
Yeah.
They are getting the kids back to getting
Because
the kids
they
married
want
here.
them to feel the culture.
Yeah.
But
They
that's
want
it.
them to they want them to learn and see what it is all about. They want them to touch and feel India because they are so disconnected.
No, but thankfully, Vandana and me were in Jaipur recently for the Wed in India Expo. Adi, it looks very promising. They are definitely
100%.
moving at great
But
speed.
in
And
the current scenario,
current
we
scenario,
just say
yes,
that
we
allow some of the weddings if you feel the clients would like to explore certain
Yes. Yeah.
destinations.
We should
they
be
should
allowed.
be allowed
Yeah,
to.
no, it
We
has
should not
to
be told
happen,
that
yeah.
you cannot do it or it's
Yeah.
not possible. We just
Yeah.
request the government.
Yeah.
There is a
keep
large
it,
there
keep
is
it
a
up to
large
them. I
audience.
mean, we have so many corporate clients. Corporate events are happening internationally. Our dealer meets, incentive meets.
Yeah.
They're all happening. 1,000 people are going abroad. That is all allowed.
Yeah.
But weddings, suddenly I said, you can't take them abroad.
I don't think
YPOs,
this is really
all
being
this is
said.
happening,
It's
yeah.
a lot of fear, but we should definitely work on
Yeah, I don't
both
think
the
there is-
models.
I don't-
Respect
yeah,
100%
I don't
the Prime
think- I
Minister's
don't
vision,
think-
you know,
yeah.
no doubt in that.
I don't think there is any paper or a circulation. It was a statement that
Yes.
was made, and everybody has taken it seriously.
We had, I mean,
Yeah.
Vandana had, I had.
Yeah, we
two
had a
clients
wedding
who
and we
Yeah.
brought our wedding
kind of
back.
withdrew
we
and
did- yeah,
she
we-
did one back, you know.
back in
back here, but
backwaters in Kerala.
Ours got cancelled and the bride and groom married someone else.
But that's also another
Like,
story.
that has
Hello,
nothing
hello,
to do with our
Karloba.
wedding in India.
Yes, it has nothing to do with us. Yeah.
Okay, we've had some serious conversation. Now I want to touch upon some goss. Y'all have
Yeah.
both done some serious Bollywood weddings. And you know, always people have this inquisitiveness to know how
अच्छा, मेरी
are,
शादी तो 20 साल पहले हुई थी यार.
how are
वंदना
these,
जी ने कितने
how
marketing
are
में.
these Bollywood brides? Are they just like regular other brides? Or you know, how is the whole process with them? Do they listen to the planner, or you just have to kind of do what they like? So
I mean,
tell us
starting-
some.
I'll let Adi first start.
Yeah.
I
Well, we
have a
signed
different
non-disclosure
story.
agreements, so.
NDAs. Yeah.
Just tell us as much as you can.
No, but I think, look, yeah.
You've
I
done.
mean,
Acha, just tell us which all weddings you've done, Adi.
Well, I've had the good fortune to do Salman's sister Arpita's wedding. We did in Hyderabad. Then we did Zahir Khan with Sagarika, the cricketer, and Sagarika Gagde.
Yeah.
Then we did
Go on.
Priyanka and Nick's wedding.
Yeah.
You did. You've Raj.
Then no.
Oh, you didn't,
We
sorry.
was very, very close as friends.
Yeah.
We decided not to work together.
Oh.
Then we did Kiara and Sid's. And then, I mean, I don't know if you call in, celebrity an influencer, but lately influencers have also become, known celebrities. So there was this lovely girl, Alana Pandey,
Pandey.
with Ivor. We
Oh,
did their
yes.
wedding. So there, and then I couldn't do Vandana's wedding because she was already married by then with 2 kids who are just a few years younger to me, but I would have been happy to do her wedding.
Yeah, the celebrity wedding.
Manocha, आप जब तैयार हो तो कभी हमको phone कीजिए.
The question she's asked.
Sorry, what were you asking?
Tell us about how is planning
it's really
for them.
funny. I have to tell you, I mean, a story which was, it's so sad that the media sometimes just puts people's whole impression about who they are in the public eye without even knowing the facts. You're not in the room, you're not with them. So
Yeah.
it's like, it was so sad when people were talking about, Priyanka and Nick and saying that, how it's not going to work out and how it's just for the sake of media and everything else. And I have to tell you, the first flight I took with them, we just got 45 or 50 days to plan the wedding. It was just such a short time. But that first flight I took with them from Bombay to Jodhpur, she just didn't leave his sight. She was just hugging him, holding him, just had her arms around him. They were just in love, and it was just so beautiful to see that. And obviously they're two very strong people, and their vision was very clear what they wanted.
Yeah.
The most professional, I mean, she is by far the most professional artist, if I know, in the profession of media. And she knows what she wants. And Nick is just wonderful, at that age, the kind of maturity he has. And it was just one of the most amazing, beautiful experiences. It was very tight, very, very, very close-knit family affair. And we're fortunate enough, it to be the second most Googled wedding after
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan, since Aditya is not married still, so, but, mind, but after that it was theirs, and we were fortunate enough, and then, we did the next one that got the limelight was obviously Kiara and Sid.
Kiara and Sid,
Again,
yeah.
Two youngsters.
That bridal walk it's gotten
yeah,
so
but-
popular. Every
I mean,
bride
it was-
wants
it was-
that.
It was impromptu, not rehearsed. She was running late. That's why there's the part in which Sid points out to
Yeah.
his watch. But just when those doors opened, just that look between the two of them, nothing else, my hair starting, nothing else mattered to the
Yeah.
crowd. It's always, I'm not saying
Everybody
because they're
thinks
Bollywood
these are
stars
very rehearsed.
And these are rehearsed, but just when she just moved that hand of hers, when she sang Latte, it was just so beautiful. Again, a lot of collaborations worked in favor of certain of these things. We had, a beautiful friend of ours called Vishal, the
Punjabi.
Punjabi.
And he certainly brings to some of the celebrity weddings a really emotional touch in the music, that the way he,
Yeah.
orchestrates it. So, and he created the song of Ranjha, which was the happy version. If you see in the movie, it's the sad
Sad
version.
version.
And that happy version song, when it played on the speakers, everyone heard it, and it just lifted the audience
Yes.
also. And when she walked that with that happiness on that song, and it was just beautiful to see two young people so in love with each other. You know, again, it's about me bringing people in love together. It's
Yeah.
about the planner. It's not about the bride and groom. Get that right, guys.
I think celebrity or not celebrity, when you see a couple so much in love with each other, I think the joy that we get as planners to be
I
associated.
cry at every wedding.
Yeah, even I cry at
I
every
cry at
wedding.
every wedding. I have seen the Jayamala, I see the bride
Yeah,
walking.
I
and my
see
team
the-
always tells me, hello, it's not your daughter getting married.
Coming back to the celebrity
Celebrity.
wedding, now Vandana, your experience.
Listen, I am not as much, I'm so glad you're asking me this question because every time it says celebrity wedding planner.
Yeah.
I am not a celebrity wedding planner. I am a wedding planner like you or anybody else because this man has done more celebrity weddings than I have. I have actually done only one.
The most power
Yeah.
couple of Bollywood.
No, it was, I must say that as far as the couple concerned, we're talking about, I think she just took a year off to do her wedding.
That's
She
so
was
lovely.
She was just very involved as much as he was, and like very sensible human beings, they had divided their roles.
Oh, that's lovely to
Very
hear.
nice. Yeah. So he was very clear. I want to have nothing to do with what the place looks like, what all of that's all her part. I'm only interested in the music and the entertainment. And he has an eye which is as sharp as an eagle, by the way. Okay?
Wow.
He will walk into a room
And
and
notice.
say, no, this placement is out. It's not working. I remember we were doing something in the dance floor and he kept saying, Vandana, the dance floors, it's not giving me the energy. There's going to be something off because the bar's too close. This is not happening. The DJ console is not just the right height. I need it to be like this. We turned it around because he wanted, and how right was he?
Yeah.
In terms of things like that. I think with the profession also you tend to learn. But exactly what Adi was saying, the media takes out so many stories, they take out a million things, but the sync or the
Chemistry.
chemistry that happens, it's only when you're in the room
Yes.
with them can you feel it and you can see it. So Hamara Raja Baba, who is all over Baba, the whole birth goes on and on in his mad clothes and he's as mad as ever. But there is such a sense of center and calmness to the boy when he's sitting and listening. He's sitting in a room, he's not jumping jack flash all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
He's got a center which is amazing. And the caring nature is naturally like that.
Yeah.
It's not that he's showing. For her, of course, for his parents, for his people, whatever. But even for our crew.
Yeah.
I mean, if the girls were walking in or whatever, the man would get up and say, take a chair.
Yeah,
Sit down
that's-
there. The kind of respect that he gave to the DJs, to the music. My son was working on this wedding for the first time. Sat and talked to him. So this whole media hype about, this has been done for this or this, everything is rehearsed. Or when she looked up and the sun looked up and this was such a beautiful shot. Yeah, you're out in the open in Italy. Are you controlling the weather? You are not.
Yeah.
Okay? It was literally, I'm saying they are blessed, those two, touch wood. She did this walk. She was doing the South Indian wedding and she was walking down and it was a little cloudy that
Yeah.
particular day. And we had black umbrellas because the media was all over and all that rubbish. But, and I stood with her for that 1 second before she was going to walk. And she was wearing juttis. And I said, and suddenly she walked, she said, I'm taking them off. I said, you're going to walk barefoot? She said, if I was in a temple, I would have done it, no? So I said, that's true. She kicked off her shoes and everybody, her stylist and everybody's going crazy. She just said, relax. It was cloudy and this
Yeah.
is not a joke. She walked down and everybody was standing there waiting for her. It was like a moment was done. She came down, she met him, and I have never seen literally the clouds open and there was this rays of sun on this girl.
How lovely is that?
And the moment that Vishal has caught is absolutely spectacular. She looked at him and because the sun hit her, she did this and she looked up. So it looks like it's a shot that's been taken, but it was all very natural.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, things people make out, but it's amazing. I mean, the bonhomie, there were 70 people at the wedding.
Yeah.
It was just their family. Not one extra person was there. People they've known from their childhood, people they've grown up with. It was an intimate, very gathering. We felt like outsiders if we stepped in too much.
Yeah.
But she was wonderful to work with. So was he. Drove us crazy, particular. You see this white? I mean, ye white hai? How many shades of white can you have? 5. She wanted to see all 5 and then pick which was the better white out of the 5. So that was her, absolutely.
Talking of intimate weddings, Vandana, you know, there's a beauty about intimate weddings, and during COVID, we all were very fortunate to
Yeah.
be able to do very limited number weddings. It was
Some
beautiful.
people just went to Goa and moved
Yeah,
there and did
I
not
mean,
do
he
anything
just said,
at
I don't
all
want to
in
do
Jaipur.
anything
Yeah,
which
and
is
just lived
lesser
there
than
for 3 months,
400,
yes.
500.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
1 to 3 Goa is free.
Yeah.
Seedha pahuncho.
But I think there was a beauty with these small, intimate weddings. And I somewhere feel that the format of intimate weddings should come back, given the fact that if we want to do weddings within India, the formats, I mean, we could kind of go through a transformation of looking at weddings differently also.
Yeah, I think somebody once used the word correction, and I disagree with that. It's not a correction. I think it's what you're saying, a transformation.
Yeah.
I have a personal experience. Adi was there. I have a personal experience. My daughter just got married
Yeah.
in February. We were 190 people, 200 people max at the wedding.
Yeah.
Not one person extra. I think I enjoyed the wedding more than anybody else did, because it was with all my friends, my family, people. My kids had only their friends around them. Yes, we had the whole shebang and we did the barat and we did all the fun things. We never missed out on a single fun moment. Intimate weddings does not mean, for some reason, I don't know why we Indians think just because a wedding is small and intimate, the big fatness of it goes out. For me, the big fat Indian wedding is numberless.
Yes.
Because the big fat Indian wedding exists whether you're doing 20 people or you're doing 20,000 people. Because you're going to have the rituals, you're going to have the fun, the family is going to be together, you're going to dance, you're going to make fun of each other. You know, all of that, the sangeet, the mehndi, the haldi, the pujas, all of that will happen. It just happens for a smaller number of people.
Yeah.
And it's more manageable, definitely. And I think people remember. It's more memorable
Yes,
also, I
yes.
think. That's
And you can do a lot of things with the food curation differently, you know, like
Yes.
we all want that Pangat style, sit down, and it's so beautiful to be able
yeah,
to do
like
that.
Adi always comes suited, booted in his thing and wants a sit-down dinner and wants all of that happening. That can't happen when we do 800 people weddings, but if we do 200 people weddings, we can do that. Definitely.
How does one prepare to be able to salvage? I know weather's the only thing
all our
usually.
businesses, they're all
Risk.
backup plans.
Yeah.
But
Risk.
I think weather's one of the most.
Weather's the
formidable
only
Weather.
thing I think which literally has always been like
99%
a.
has been the
We
damp
did a
weather.
wedding in Spain, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything was ready. We were all set. Downpour happened. The bride refused to go out. She said we had 2 setups because we had predicted this. So we had a setup in the
Indoors.
indoors. She just refused. She said, I have said I'm going to get married outdoor by the water. I will wait. So Adi and his team have actually called up the airport, got somebody, then the weather, because the airport has the best weather
Yeah,
information. They have tracked the weather every half an hour to understand, and actually came back and shown her that how the clouds will move. And it is going to take 45 minutes to an hour, and then only will we be able to do this. And everybody has stood because the bride has just said, I will not get married inside. I am going to get married there. Now, please understand, very well, they organized the champagne, everybody went inside, drinks and ha-ha-hoo and all of that happened. People in a merry
Yeah.
mood. But can you imagine the production end of it?
Yeah.
All chairs wet, all mandap carpets wet, everything dripping, everything not there, and then people are going to come and sit down.
Yeah.
So while their team took everybody to one side of the hotel,
You guys
and
are
kept them
rushing it.
entertained, hotel staff, okay, hotels, all the hotel staff I gathered, got hotel towels together And I said, we will now, because pocha to hai nahi
Yeah,
bhai.
yeah.
Yehi hai hamare paas. There are no pochas and swabs there, no? So yehi hai hamare paas. Hotel towels leke, we are wiping floors, wiping chairs. I went to his team and I said, whoever is free, come. And all of us have literally taken off the rainwater from there, drained it, changed the carpet, reset the mandap, reset the music system, and 1.5 hours later, we did the wedding and the bloody sun was shining. A client wedding planner relationship has to be of trust.
Yeah.
In that sense. And respect.
No, but
Yeah.
look,
And pure respect. to
99
say-
of them are absolutely
Most of the
fantastic.
times,
Most of
I
them
think
are,
nowadays.
But you asked that question that give us an instinct.
Yeah.
And we, I mean, you usually wouldn't do that because it's your reputation, it's your guest. And I had at least 70, 80 guests from there who I knew personally.
Yeah.
Who had come, whose weddings we had done. And out of that, 2 guests would have that 6:30, but I gave my personal car to them.
Yeah.
Because that relationship I had to keep.
Of
and I
course.
paid for another 2 more cars for 2 other
Yeah,
people, but I
yeah.
didn't decline that.
Because-
But I had to teach them a lesson. I said that you cannot do this. man.
Yeah, yeah.
Because eventually
Run
it's your
away.
reputation on the
Absolutely.
because nobody will remember.
we all know, we all-
and nobody
we all are
will, and
running.
nobody will say, oh, the client didn't pay. They'll always say the wedding
Boss,
planner messed
we,
up.
we all know,
Yes,
and everyone who's
we've all
watching
been
this,
through this.
everyone who's
Aarti,
watching
you've
this
been-
knows
all of us have
that
been through
out of all our weddings, 70% of our money in the last has not come to us. All of us have been through it, and we're still going through it also.
Yeah.
But certain clients,
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is also very important to also understand is that I think eventually the client has to understand that you've hired a professional company. They know what they're doing. If they're saying that somebody needs to get paid, if they're saying this needs to be done, it is out of pure experience.
Correct.
They're saying it. Because eventually front of house is you.
Yeah.
You are the face who's standing
And we want
there.
to that time focus on getting the day right and work on not actually battle the struggles of
yeah,
trying to
man.
get payments done, you know.
another story, we did a wedding on the outskirts of Paris.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it was a
yes.
very, very, very hard, intense wedding in a place called Shanti.
Shanti.
Which is one of
First
the most
time somebody ever did an Indian wedding there. We
One of
took
the still, that's where Hermes comes from. Polo was originated, you know,
there.
in Shanti.
Oh,
and
they are
have
basically
Shanti
wow.
lace.
Shanti
All the
lace,
saris
yeah.
you wear and all these things,
Yeah,
Shanti
yeah.
lace.
Yeah.
And very
Nobody had
difficult
done a
terrain to
wedding.
work with. We had 2 months to pull it off.
Yeah.
And we were so involved because the money was coming in, there was things going up and down.
It was
we
just-
just couldn't concentrate on delivering the experience. So the first night when we went, the entertainment went for 1.5 hours because that could have been only 20 minutes. But because we were stuck in the loop of paisa kab aa raha hai, isko kiska dene ka hai, that is not happening. The client is hiring you. You tell the client, leave it to us, man. Don't run the project.
Yeah.
We are running the project for you. They are running the project for you. They are also distributing the money to you. So end of the day, it's compromised on the product. Yeah?
Correct,
And then,
correct.
people are telling
The
them, what
flow
the hell
gets
is going
The
on?
flow gets hit and then the whole energy of the event goes. And then eventually, I'm coming back to this point again, I've repeated myself. They are not standing at the lobby seeing off and receiving people.
Yeah.
When cars don't come, it's the guest that is yelling at you because
Yeah.
the guest is the guest of the client. He is never going to point a finger at his friend
Yes.
and say that you didn't pay. It must have been the wedding planner who
Planner
messed up.
who's- yeah.
Okay? Arey, if the hampers didn't reach on time, must have been the wedding planner's fault. Not realizing the back end was that Auntie Ji forgot to order them
Yeah,
because she
yeah.
wanted to do it
Yeah,
herself
yeah.
and didn't want to trust you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do that. You know, that's what I'm
True,
saying.
true.
And you keep a hair and salon. I'm giving you practical things. When you're telling them you need 20 hairdressers because you've got so many people, and just for the fact that you notionally have a salon and you put 5 people and everybody's cursing you,
Yeah.
you're not standing
Yeah,
there and taking
yeah,
that backlash.
yeah, yeah.
The backlash is being taken
True.
by
True. No, it's important to take the opinion. I mean, you're right. You're hiring experts. Please listen to them. We
Yes.
know it day in, day out,
Yes.
what's really
Yes.
happening. Adi, you know, I wanted to talk to you guys and understand about this whole Recce thing. Because, you know, very often now with the flight prices going up and, you know, everything becoming so expensive, clients have this huge reservation with multiple Recces. And obviously, we also do not really, no planner or no designer really wants to do multiple Recces. Everybody's got a busy schedule and calendar. How do you make sure you optimize and make it very cost effective and try and fit in a lot within, you know, very few Recces?
You know, So interesting question, because all our recce's earlier were 3-day recce's.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it was in everyone's mind. It's only a 3-day recce. But nowadays, our recce's are now 5-day recce's.
Yeah.
Because we can't, I mean, it's just that mindset कि हम लोग को 3 दिन में सारा काम खत्म हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
And you forcibly finish it in 3 days. But there's a lot of unfinished business.
Yeah.
And even with 5 days, it's difficult because you're in a new city, a new terrain, a new culture, new everything, you know. So, but any which way, I mean, look, we obviously do give a work in progress indication to a client that, look, if you're getting married in Europe, for example, your wedding is going to cost you 3 million euros. I'm just saying, happily speaking. And in that, we're going to tell him, look, your recce's got a budget coming in that is your overall budget for the wedding. Now, during a recce, we always tell a client that, look, you need a minimum of 3 recce's if it's a terrain we know.
Yeah.
And if it's like, for example, we did a wedding, the first wedding that happened in Vienna, we had between 8 to 9 recce's. You know,
Yeah.
it was
It was a
crazy.
very big wedding as
Because
well.
it was a big wedding. There was 5 hotels, there were 900 guests, there were 6 venues, international artists, local artists. But we had 9 recce's, yeah. Because the recce's were first with the groom side, then with the bride side, then with the groom and bride sides, then with the production company, then with the food company, then 2 food tastings, then recce to negotiate pricing.
I don't think
with
that
the
can
clients.
happen today.
Nowadays
So-
it can't happen.
Yeah, so because now you got Zoom, Google Meet, and it's become much easier.
I think
The
post-COVID,
world is-
people got a lot used to virtual meetings.
That's what, if you remember in DWP, I
Yeah.
asked a question, what is the most amazing that happened with COVID with wedding planners? I said Zoom, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most amazing thing has happened is
Yeah.
just Zoom and
So
technology.
you can speak, it's not that you couldn't speak to people on the phone, but it's just when you do a face-to-face
Yes.
meeting.
Technology has got the
Technology
world
is really
so much
brought
more
in.
cozier and closer.
Yeah. And I think also for recce's now also, Adi, I think the fact is that clients have become conscious of the spend on the recce.
Yes.
That's number one. And also, I think as teams, experience has taught us
Yeah.
that, you know, like he said, 3 days recce's.
How to fit and
how
schedule
to fit
it.
in with those. It's better to go for 7 days or 5 days. Finish as much as you
As
can,
you
because
can.
any case you are going to be, it's a constant battle.
Yeah,
You know, you're
yeah.
always emailing, zooming, talking, this thing. And people wonder why we do so many
Yeah,
recce's.
yeah.
I just want to explain.
Yeah.
One is you go for the first time to have a look at the venue with the clients. You go to see the hotels. You go to see what kind of rooms they have, what kind of services they have, what the venue has to offer. While you're doing all of that and you are negotiating and you're getting contracts, there is somebody who's looking out and saying, okay, who is the production teams that are available? What's available in the city? Who are the florists that you can work with? Who is the hospitality transport guys? That happens. But that doesn't mean that in one recce you've closed
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You've just met 5 different companies. You don't know who the best is. Then you have to wait for them to get back to you. Then the negotiation starts.
Yeah.
Then the second recce happens when the designs are closed,
Yeah.
when the layouts are closed. Okay, then you know what's going to happen. Then when menus get closed,
Yeah.
but nobody understands that till menus in our industry, as you know, take the longest to be closed.
Yes.
And as design people, till a menu is not closed, I don't know the length of my buffet. I don't know how much space they need. You have to go back with the food and
Food
kitchen company, and how much time goes
Yeah.
in sitting and discussing food and drinks
Yeah.
and service and back end. That's your third recce
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
end of it. That's why 5 or 6 recce's, but I think a minimum of 3 recce's.
Yeah,
But
now I
also
think-
you have to understand, I mean, as what Vandana was saying, when we started it, not that we are achieving lifetime achievement status, but when we started weddings in Europe, no social media, right?
Yeah.
How to explain a guy, भाई मेहंदी क्या होती है, बारात क्या होती है, संगीत क्या होती है, wedding rituals क्या होती है, you know, Indian hospitality is what, Indian food, no onion,
used
no
to
garlic.
Google- we used to draw and show
It is
them.
just crazy to go to a new terrain, to the French, who are, you know, just the most difficult to work
Yeah,
with, and we've done
yeah.
a maximum
Why?
celebrations
Yeah, but
in
the
south of
people
France
drink
in
whiskey
that
and
way.
not wine.
But
Indians
just-
drink whiskey and
a
they
sit
don't
down
drink
dinner,
wine.
And a sit down dinner, you insist, but I know after 10 minutes, Papa ji, Pupa ji, Mama ji, मैं आपके टेबल पे आ रहा हूँ. Suddenly the food has come, everyone's all over the place. Those goras are going crazy. Everyone sit down, announcement. So just to make them understand what Indian culture is, what Indian hospitality is, it took that time, 2 to 3 recce's.
Yes.
But now obviously there's so
Now
many
they've
videos.
done
They've
a lot.
understood. They've
after films.
understood.
You just send them Instagram links, you send them your YouTube links.
I think
they
you
see
and
the wedding.
I think you and I can take the credit for actually
Educating.
the international destinations,
Especially
about
Europe
Indian
and-
weddings,
and
Europe, as
France.
to what a barat means, how Indians have drink other things more than wine, how they don't come on time for everything,
Food, yeah. You know,
how sit-down dinners
our
don't
first
work.
wedding in Florence, they couldn't understand that Italian food can be made without onion and garlic. How to make them, sir? 4 food tastings. Then Vandana and our groom's father got Ritu Dalbia on board.
Yeah.
Then Ritu came in. Ritu had to have 2 tastings with them to show them how to make it. Same thing happened in Cipriani
Yeah.
for a wedding we did in Venice.
Yeah.
Where the Italian food, when you tasted the pasta, it was just not even crap. It was, and it's Cipriani, you know. I mean, but Police Sikant came in, was woken up at 12 in the night. Can you
Yeah.
do the after party food? Suddenly 700 people were only eating pasta from 2 counters because he threw in the onion, the garlic, the masala, the red chili, chak, chak, chak. Hey, Nepali bhai, shamsher, lagao, tak. Everyone started eating the bloody pasta, man. It was so delicious.
What is tandoors? What is
They have
high
no idea,
flame?
so-
Yeah.
Why do you need hot food?
Why do you need spicy food? Why do you need hot food? You know, I mean, it's just crazy.
So Recce's
and we have-
those days were
We have
just
dishes, we have 60 dishes.
Yeah.
They have 6 dishes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Recce
That's
those days was spent hours. I used to be exhausted, or Adi would never get exhausted. Just tired talking
Yeah.
and explaining. Today you walk into any country
They don't-
and you
they
talk
know
part, they'll say Sangeet. Oh, and henna
They have
ceremony.
experts now within
They
the
have-
hotel.
Yeah, within the hotel they have experts, and now today local artists have blossomed. You go to Milan, you'll get a Mehndi
But it's
artist.
also a lot to do with with the monetary part of it, for them to understand
Correct.
and to bridge the gap between our spending power, their spending
Yeah.
power, how to make them understand revenue, food and beverage. We're getting Indian catering teams, they're going to cook the food, but we still need the service staff, their cost per head versus our total, because we don't charge when you take 150 chefs, it's not per head.
Yeah,
cost.
yeah.
It's a lump sum cost
Yeah.
that you're taking in for cooking for so many people. Across the kitchen, the back end staff, the
And
equipment.
service is not going to go away
It's
till
like-
11 o'clock
and
at
then-
night.
then
We
they are
need food
getting
at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it's
You know, so
just
it
making
was.
them go through everything. It is a very tedious process.
So Recce's were very big at that time, but I think now
That's why
everywhere you
weddings
go.
are made in heaven, but wedding planners go through hell. But we still make hell heaven.
Yeah,
वो
wedding
जहन्नुम
planners.
को भी हम जन्नत बनाते हैं। जन्नत देखा आपने इमरान हाशमी का? नहीं, ऐसे पूछ रहे हैं।
You know, talking of transformation and the way you're talking about your Recce journey and
Yeah.
you know how earlier Recce's were till today, how people are educated and doing so well. You wear a hat of a designer, and that was typically your main role
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
before you really started doing a lot more of planning. As a designer, over the 3 decades, how have you seen design transform, Vandana?
You know, that's a very difficult question because design is so personal.
Yeah.
And it is so subjective. It's not an object. Yeah. Design in the wedding business gets influenced by the biggest influencer, Bollywood. Okay,
Yeah.
Bollywood films. Then fashion.
Yeah.
Those are the other 2 things. For me, design gets influenced a lot with architecture and art, and
Yeah.
of course what happens around. I think design over the years wears 2 hats in our business. Design is the innovative kind, which can be simple and minimalistic. I find today's generation
Loves
is
that.
looking for that.
Yeah.
Is looking for that simplicity. Please don't get me wrong. The simplest design is the most difficult design
To achieve.
To achieve. The simpler the design, the more difficult the
Yeah,
task for
yeah.
me. The bigger the kind of canvas, the bigger the story, I can create a lot more
Yeah.
because I have that many more elements to add
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
So I think design has gone through a great transformation, and design is actually running parallelly because there are 2 mindsets that are running alongside. There are people who still want big sets, who want Hiramandi today,
Yeah.
or they want Padmavat sets,
Yeah.
or they want something out of Rocky and Rani.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just giving you
yeah,
Bollywood
yeah.
experiences.
Correct.
Or somebody will travel and say, I want something like an Italian palazzo.
Yeah.
You know, so those are bigger, larger than life things that are happening. There are few people who still want that, but major stream is really going in for definitely the more artistic,
Yeah.
the more simplistic, but yet very beautiful. So flowers are never going out of
Yeah,
fashion.
flowers are
the
always
most. I mean, they're the bane of our lives because Every client complains about the expense of flowers, but they are not going out of
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
But the styling of flowers has changed. You will find that also is very curated.
Yeah.
It's very crafted. It's not bhar bhar ke. Nobody is doing ceilings full of flowers
Yeah,
anymore. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a huge transition.
What a journey to see all of this, no? That's why when I started introducing you, I said from glamorous to classic to call it whatever theme, you've done it all. Before we end, I want you to give us those few green flags that one should look for in designers and planners when the clients are selecting, and green flags in clients that designers and planners should look for.
I think let me wear a client.
And Adi, you can also give some green flags to us.
He has many green flags to give.
Elders first.
Yeah.
Experience before youth.
You know, even though we did my daughter's wedding in-house, I was still dealing with a lot of people. And for the first time, I was sitting on the other side of the fence and looking in, because Vedika more or less managed her own wedding and the team helped her. And the kind of anxiety to a great extent, or the kind of nervousness one has when your child is getting married, I experienced it for the first time. And I now understand what every family goes through. And you know what is it that you want and how you want to put your best foot forward for your child. And you want to make it absolutely perfect. And the one thing I remembered, and I said I must put this down as notes to myself and notes to parents whose kids are getting married, is that choose wisely.
Yeah.
It's very, very important to say, when I say that, choose wisely. Because you have to look at the history somebody comes with, the experience somebody comes with. Don't get me wrong that if somebody is new in the business, that they are not good at what they do. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying from a design perspective, it's very important for somebody. You can choose somebody who's been in the business for a year, who can be fabulous at what they do in terms of design. But does that person have the experience to execute and produce that design and foresee what perils may follow? Yes? An experienced hand will be able to do that. So experience for me from a client's perspective is very important. Secondly, please also look at what is the core strength of the person that's coming with. Sometimes I always hear, I don't know if you guys hear this, oh, we are getting charged only this much. And I say, is it for planning or is it for the entire management of it? And they'll say, oh, it's the planner. I say, so you're going to bring on a designer, which means it's an added expense. So be careful about what you are getting into. You have to be very clear in that aspect of it. I think from a client's perspective. And secondly, I think also, yes, as a client, you can look at many people. You can look at Aarti, you can look at Adi, you can look at me, you can look at other people. It's also about the rapport and the personal friendship, you can say. It's very difficult to say in the beginning, but you get a vibe from a person. Go with your gut feel. Really go with your gut feel, because that's, I think, what makes a relationship.
Yeah, you have to spend the next 6 to 9 months with them.
Don't just look at the right hand side. Don't just look at the right hand side, because that doesn't make your wedding. That definitely, it's a big chunk, but that is not the defining moment. As Adi said in the beginning, is what kind of a wedding do you want? Do you want a relationship or do you want a professional? You have to choose that. Now, red flags for planners, I will let Adi say that.
No, I just feel that what Vandana is saying is bang on, but the fact is that how do you judge who the right client is very important. When a client comes and meets you, where does he meet you? If he meets you in a 5-star hotel, how do you know his background unless you know what he's driving? How do you know who he is unless what he's wearing? So you have to ask pertinent questions to exactly know. I'll tell you a damn funny incident. I did a wedding in Bangkok. The client is a Gujarati Muslim from Congo.
From Congo?
Yeah, hear it out. He has met me in an Udupi restaurant in Matunga, idli sambar, and he's come in a taxi, non-air conditioned, old black and white. And he said, my son is getting married, and I got a reference from a earlier wedding you did and all. But, please take care, and it's my son's wedding and all. And, I really, want to do it with you, but I don't have this money. But dude, and my company just started. It was the second wedding we had done in Bangkok. I said, okay, sir. The bugger is landed up in 2 charter planes for the next Recce with 6 of his family members wearing Armani suits, cigar, and everything. And then I said, what is going on? He said, no, you have to understand, I have to also judge who my planner is and understand that he doesn't charge me the arm and the move. Obviously, the rates changed when I saw all that. But just the fact saying is that you got to be very smart to understand who your client is. So you got to ask them the right pertinent questions to understand, okay, is he going to spend? Which country does he want to look at? If he's looking at India, where is he looking at India? What's his base? Who's this kind of artist that he likes? What is this kind of...
What is the previous wedding happened?
I mean, even previous wedding, but like, okay, are there any design teams he's got in mind? So certain hints you get from them, and then you understand, okay, this guy is going to spend, he's not going to spend, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's a true guy, he's not a true guy. You get to know these.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to understand his
experience
personality.
over the years.
Mom, I said you have to get the vibe, but also you have to know that, fine, this is the guy that you want to go ahead with, and he's speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And also the other green flag, I think, for us planners is when I find that when clients are talking to you and they say, can you send us a presentation? We have an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Go through it.
Yeah.
You should be able to tell whether, if that
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
tell you our sense of design, then maybe we are not the right choice for you.
So that's
When
what my
peop-
team tells me a lot of times, because I kind of, have a habit of, going that extra mile and saying, fine, look, I want to be true. I want to understand if he's got the bucks or he doesn't have the bucks. I know that it comes down to that.
Yeah.
Emotion, सब ठीक है भाई. पैसा आ रहा है या नहीं? और वो बंदे पैसा डालेगा या नहीं end में? हवा में ही बातें करते.
There the Sindhi speaks.
Yeah,
Yes, there the
not
Sindhi
that. I'm
speaks.
just saying that, boss. You tell me, man, is your budget for your wedding in Udaipur going to be 15 crores? He said, my budget 5 crores. Then go to Chota Udaipur. No, it's 5 minutes away from Udaipur.
Oh, God.
No, I'm just saying. You have to be truthful. Why waste your time, his time, and everything else?
Yeah.
So I always tell my team that, look, I like
Put it on the table.
I like to give a budget. They said, no, so opening up your entire sheet. I said, fine, I don't give breakup. That's the sound and light, entertainment, decor. This is the vibe for the wedding in Udaipur. This is what it is. They say, don't even send that. But I mean, look, end of the day, you got to judge him for that.
Yes.
And you got to understand, is he willing to put the buck? He says that I have a budget of 10 crores, but you're seeing 15 crores you have to spend.
Yeah.
You cannot do 10 crores.
Yeah.
That means your entertainment at 1 crore has to come to 10 lakhs.
Yeah.
Your hotel can't change, your transportation can't change, but your design decor can change. Fine. I put 2-3 crores for design decor. Fine. In 1.5 crores, call her up. Is it possible in 1.5 crores to do it? Okay, what is the look? It's not very fancy. Okay, Vance, okay, good to go. Put it down.
Yeah.
So now that 10 can go up to 12.5, but
Correct.
it can't come down to 10 because I can substitute and subtract so much.
Yeah.
Rather for planners, I find that when you're talking to clients, when I find clients will take a meeting with you, I can understand they're talking to many people, but I think a red flag comes, or keep saying red flag, green flag comes is really the fact when we are asking you for budgets. Adi would
That's
happily
a red
give them.
flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag because that means they're doing a comparison. But as my team also says, but how does the client know if we don't give him a budget? I said, is our job to put everything on the table before getting confirmed as well? Because then you're putting all your eggs in the open. I don't know the answer to that,
No,
frankly
I've got
speaking.
so many, 50 years time, my budgets are used as a base, and I've known 20 planners who've done it at quarter the price. But if that's the experience you want to pay for at that value, then you don't need me. Then probably that guy's great for you and he'll do a better job, hopefully, than me,
Yeah,
man, 100%.
And I also think that I think for me a biggest green flag really is how after 1 or 2 meetings or whatever is the attitude towards you as a planner, and see, I keep using the word respect, and I don't mean it in a respect me for what I am, or I'm just saying as a human being.
Yes.
As let's just say the courtesy.
Yeah.
The word that I want to use is
Courtesy.
courtesy. The courtesy that you extend to another human being as a professional, as another person, I think comes across in the second or third meeting.
Yes.
And that for me is a big red flag. Because if I find that they don't respect your profession, they don't respect what you do, they are not going to be with you for the longest time because they are constantly going to be looking back.
If they treat you as an agency, walk out of that wedding.
Yeah.
If they treat you as a family member,
That's the
definitely
wedding
make sure
for you to
do
do.
the same wedding second time of the couple again.
Correct. Yeah. That's the
Right.
With this, we've got so much insights and so much of knowledge today from the planning and design side, and most importantly, how 2 large companies can come together, do collaboration, and create magic. We're not over yet. We have a fun segment called the Rapid Fire, which I have to...
Oh, wow.
All the works.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it,
fine.
Shadi.
Go for it. Go for
Who
it.
do I start with first?
Obviously.
Vandana?
Age
I
before youth.
Beauty before the beast.
That's true. Vandana, what inspires you the most?
The fact when I look back on the last wedding and I see those happy faces, I know I want to do it again.
You yet want to do it. Most
Sucker for it. Yeah.
most creative wedding favors ideas. You know, nowadays that they give all the favors and, you know, at the mehndi and all of that.
I find it the most interesting, and the women, particularly the women, love it, are these little makeup corners that are everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, they love to go and put
The
it in
nails,
their portals, the
perfume
nails,
making.
the perfume making, all of that. I know it's been done to that, but yet you put it in any wedding and they will go there and they will picking up. So it's kind of an everlasting thing. And food, by the way, is another very
Yeah.
popular.
Giving something really nice.
Really nice is very important. Yeah.
Your most memorable moment at an event.
Her daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly, na? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Best tip to the bride to be.
That's the walk of your life. Own it completely.
Best tip to the parents of the couple to be married.
Walk in as guests
Yeah.
to the event because we are here to do the work.
The biggest project you have been involved with.
Yeah, we did Akash and Shloka's wedding. Yes.
Your stress buster.
Netflix.
Okay, with this too,
Yeah,
the
baby.
Great Gatsby.
Bring it on.
The biggest wedding planning myth you'd like to debunk.
I would say the same line, yeah, about weddings are made in heaven, but wedding planners go through hell.
Hell, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a cakewalk.
Yeah, yeah.
Your mentor in the industry?
Dikha tenu pehli pe. Any more? I mean, any doubt? Koi shak?
Craziest request you've ever received at a wedding?
Elephant?
Elephant.
I received giraffes once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your personal favorite destination for a wedding? Personal favorite.
Mine
Where
will-
Adi would get married.
For me, Mykonos has always been
Yeah.
one place where India is
did such
beautiful.
a fun wedding in Mykonos.
India is beautiful. There's no doubt in that. I mean, in India, I would say Jodhpur for me, that backdrop of Umaid Bhavan
Yeah.
Palace. There's nothing in the
Amazing.
world better than that. Nothing in the world.
That's a-
Internationally, I would say Mykonos because it's chill, man. The
Yeah.
vibe, you're in ETVs and vest and shorts. It's just a really chilled out
Yeah,
vibe.
Jodhpur is always one.
Fun Sindhi wedding or traditional Marwari wedding?
Oh, fun Sindhi wedding.
What a
Oh,
question!
come on.
That's not a fair question at all.
First thing you do after a wedding is over, we all know it, the after party, but anything else that you do first thing as soon as the wedding gets over?
I mean, every wedding and every event, as soon as the function of show flow is over, my clients know that we enjoy our drinks, we enjoy the vibe. Everyone comes to the bar. Vandy's team, my team, sound and light team, we all at the party, we take a corner. And the client knows that.
Yeah.
But it's not disrespectful, but we all have a shot of
Yeah.
tequila, or we all have a drink and celebrate, man.
That's
Adi's,
awesome.
yeah, Adi's always generous with all of us.
Thank you so much. We've had such a wonderful episode, and I'm sure people are going to love this. Thank you so much for being the guest.
Thank you.
at
And
the
you'll have
wedding
many
podcast.
bloopers, I think, coming out of it. But thank you for having us and thank you for doing this, Aarti. Thank you so much. Really.
Our pleasure, man. And if you need Aarti's number, call me.
This was fun. I think, laughed the most on this episode because these guys have really given me all the real stories, fun, and all of it we've had together. I hope you guys love this episode as much as I have loved. If you've liked it, give a thumbs up. Do comment what you'd like to hear in the future episodes. And do not forget to subscribe to the Wedding Podcast.